in this clip what we're going to look at is we're going to look at enlarging shapes. Now when we enlarge a shape, what we do is we make the shape bigger, and the shape gets bigger by the same scale factor, which is the same kind of times in every side of the shape. So if we look at these three examples, so the first one we're going to have a look at is we're going to have a look at this L-shaped figure, and what we're going to do is we're going to enlarge it by a scale factor of 2. Now, enlarging by a scale factor of 2 means that you double the size of everything on the shape. So if we take, for example, and what we always try and do is we try and work from the bottom of the shape. So if we're looking at that bottom of the shape, so we can actually count the squares. So if it's 3 squares on the bottom, what we're going to do for our enlarged shape is we're going to draw it 6 boxes across. So 3 and 3 being 6. Then we start working our way up. So on the left hand side we've got 4 boxes, which becomes 8. Across the top it was 1, so that becomes 2. On the right hand side we had 2 boxes, which becomes 4. Coming down the side of the shape here we had 2 boxes, which now becomes 4. And then we just finish off the shape. So we're now going to move on to scale factors of 3. So with scale factors of 2 that we looked at previously, you double the side of the shape. And obviously enough, if you're enlarging by a scale factor of 3, what you're doing is you're going to triple the size of every shape. Now the only issue here is that there is one single slanted line. Now what I would suggest that you do is you go and draw and enlarge the straighter lines. We've got 1, 2 and 3, and then because you've only got one slanted line, I would leave that line off until the end. So this time, because it's going to be such a large shape, I'm just going to start on the left hand side. So it is 5 boxes, so if I'm enlarging by a scale factor of 3, then that becomes 15. Again, the bottom of the shape is 4 boxes, so I'm going to go across 12 in this case. The right hand side of the shape is 2 boxes in the original, so if it's in the scale factor of 3 it will be going up to 6. And all I simply do now is I simply join those 2 together to create the slanted line. Okay, the last enlargement we're going to do is a scale factor of 2, but the difference being that you only have one single straight line and everything else is on a slant. So, what I would suggest that you guys do is I would suggest that you draw the straight line first. So it's 1, 2, 3 boxes in the original. It's a scale factor of 2, so now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line going down for 6 boxes. So, now, there's a bit of a trick because we want to find where this point is. Now, because everything is enlarging by a scale factor of 2, I can simply count boxes to help me figure out where this point is on the new enlarged diagram. So if I start off at the bottom, I'm going to count across the boxes. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes across, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes up. So when I go to my new enlarged diagram, I'm going to go 12 boxes rather than 6, and I'm going to go 10 boxes up rather than 5. So we're going to come across, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is here. And then we're going to go up 10. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I have found the corresponding points here and here. So all I simply do, because I know there's only 3 lines, I simply join those together, and I also join these to finish my diagram. Now, how do I know that I'm right? if I look at this enlargement, so in the original it goes up 2 and it goes across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So on my new enlarged diagram, to get from here to here, I need to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going across 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is the trick that I would use if I'm enlarging with slanted or diagonal lines. Okay, in these questions, these are your C grade questions, and what it requires you to do, it requires you to enlarge on the X and Y axis. So if we read the question through, keyword there is enlarge. We are enlarging by a scale factor of 2, and we understand that enlarging by a scale factor of 2 means doubling the size of the shape. And what it does now, it gives us a centre of enlargement. So it tells us where we are going to enlarge from. So this says the point is 0, 0. So firstly what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark the point 0, 0 on my diagram. Now, what I try and do is, again, very, very simple. All I simply do is I count boxes. Now there's one thing that I've just got to remember, and I will highlight this as we go through the clip. So what I do is I simply count from my centre of enlargement to one of the nearest points on the shape. So if I count across here, so I'm going to go 2 boxes across, and I'm going to go 1 box up. And that gets me to the very, very bottom of the diagram. So I go back to the centre of enlargement. So it's very, very important that you go back to the centre of enlargement, and rather than counting out 2, you're now going to count out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And rather than counting up 1, you're going to count up 2. 1, 2. So essentially what you've done there is you've found the bottom of your diagram. So the bottom of your new shape is now here. So it was 2, 1. It's now 4, 2. Now, we know that we have to enlarge by a scale factor of 2. So essentially all I need to do now is I need to draw my shape double the size. So it was 3 boxes up, and that now becomes 6. It was 2 boxes across across the top of it, so that becomes 4. And all I simply do now is I draw the third line of my shape, and what that has done, it's enlarged by a scale factor of 2, so everything's increased by 2, and I have to remember that I go back to the centre of enlargement when I'm trying to find my new point. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at that in another example. And in this example, what I'm doing is I'm enlarging this shape by a scale factor of 3 this time, and I'm going from a centre of enlargement, and the centre of the enlargement is from the point 2, 1. Now what I'm firstly going to do, just like I did in the previous, is I'm going to mark the centre of enlargement. So I'm going to go to where 2, 1 is. Now remember, when you're plotting a coordinate, you've got to remember the rhyme along the corridor and up the stairs. So I'm going along 2 boxes, I'm going up 1. I'm just going to simply mark that just there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same as I said to you the last time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count the boxes from my centre of the enlargement to the nearest point on the shape, so which is this point here. So what I do is I go out 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 1. Now because I'm enlarging by a scale factor of 3, everything is tripled. So what I'm going to go now is, instead of going along 3, I'm going to go along 9. So that's 6 and 9. Rather than going up 1, I'm going up 3. So my new point, which is the bottom left hand corner of the shape, is now over here. Now because everything is tripling in size, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to triple everything in size. So the line along the bottom was 2 boxes, so this is going to become 6. The side of the shape was 3 boxes, now this is going to become 9. And all I simply do now is I simply join the third line together to create that shape. Now again, it's very important that when you are looking to draw the new shape, you go back to the centre of the enlargement, wherever that one is. Right, the last question we can be asked with enlargements is we can be asked to describe it fully. Okay, so in this question what we're going to be doing is it says to describe the following transformation fully. Now we know that there are 4 types of transformations. There's reflections, there's rotations, there's translations, and what we're doing at the moment, we're doing enlargements. Now what we've been asked to do is we've been asked to describe the transformation from A to B. Now as you can see, it is an enlargement, so all I simply do is I write down the word enlargement. Now what I've got to look at is I've got to look at what's the scale factor between the two. Now as you can see, it's 2 boxes on the bottom, 4 boxes on the bottom in the bigger diagram. It's 3 boxes up on the smaller diagram, 6 boxes up on the bigger diagram. So for me, that's a very simple case of writing down that it's a scale factor of 2. Now, we talked about transforming on the XY axis, particularly in terms of enlargements, and we've understood previously that you need to find where the centre of enlargement is. So there's a little trick that can help you to find where the centre of enlargement is. So all I do is I pick 2 points that are corresponding on the diagrams. So maybe I'll go with the top 2 points on these diagrams. And what I do is I line them up together, and I simply connect them with a single line, and I draw that line fully. Now, I'm also going to do that for another 2 corresponding points, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the bottom right on both of them. Now what I'm going to do again is I'm very simply going to connect them up, and I'm going to connect them with a line like that. Now what you can see is that the 2 lines that I've drawn both meet at the point 0, 0. So my centre of enlargement is the point 0, 0. And that's how I describe that transformation fully.